to Insanity Check. I am Ken.
I am Skillet Sauce.
Skillet Sauce. And it's just another lovely day here in the good old US of A.
Good white America.
So, it is the 1st of December, which means that this is a Monday. That means yesterday was football day.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you noted from last week's show, we did our Adrian Peterson story, lambasted that scumbag Roger Goodell. But we have another football story for you.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Ray Rice being reinstated? We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And Janae Rice and his wife, had that nice article today.
And how, he's still a monster and cats are still calling for him to never be let back into the football arena again.
Despite the fact that his wife is like, it's never happened before. She's not a victim, but people are like, yes, you must be a victim.
Everyone's just assuming that it's all scripted. Everything is scripted. Everything is PR related, Because even though that's what the head of the NFL does all the time, they believe that shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they don't believe this man and his wife. Anyway, so St. Louis, of course, has a football team, the Rams. They totally destroyed the Raiders yesterday, but that wasn't the story. Apparently, during the pregame introductions, the entire receiving corps, consisting of Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin, Jared Cook, Chris Gibbons, and Kenny Britt, came out onto the field with their hands up.
Why did they have their hands up, man?
Well, they were showing what they considered to be support.
For what, right guard?
Not for right guard. They have their own endorsements.
Oh, really?
They were showing support for the decision, what obviously they feel to be an incorrect decision, not indicting Darren Wilson, Officer Darren Wilson, who interestingly quit the force not long after he was acquitted of murder of Mr. Brown, Michael Brown. So, mind you, for those of you who don't know too much about football teams consist of 53 men, 53-man roster. This is only the players. This doesn't include the ball boys. This has nothing to do with the coaching staff. Certainly doesn't include the medical staff or the executives, the higher-ups, the general manager, the PR people, blah, 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 blah. 5 members of a 53-man roster decided to show to tell their opinion, a personal opinion on what happened in court with the Ferguson shooting case. And as if it wasn't enough for a black man to be killed by a pig, the Ferguson police took umbrage with this display, this public display. I'll just read you a little bit of this. The Missouri St. Louis Police Officer Association is profoundly disappointed with the members of the St. Louis Rams football team who chose to ignore the mountains of evidence released from the St. Louis County grand jury this week and engaged in a display that police officers around the nation found tasteless, because they quickly polled police officers around the nation.
Okay.
They found it tasteless, offensive, and inflammatory. 5 members of the Rams entered the field exhibiting the hands up, don't shoot pose that has been adopted by protesters who accused Ferguson police Darren Wilson of murdering Michael Brown. The gesture has become synonymous with the assertions that Michael Brown was innocent of any wrongdoing and attempted to surrender peacefully when Wilson, according to some now discredited witnesses, gunned him down in cold blood. Now discredited witnesses. Okay. Just to go down a little bit further, because this is the really good part. The SLPOA, the St. Louis Police Department, is calling for players involved to be disciplined and for the Rams and the NFL to deliver a public apology. Reuter, who's a representative of the SLPLA, said that he planned to speak to the NFL and the Rams to voice his organization's displeasure tomorrow. He also plans to reach out to other police organizations in St. Louis and around the country to enlist their input on what the appropriate response from law enforcement should be. I'm sorry, is there going to be a debate on whether to just start running around shooting black people now in response? Rhonda warned, I know that there are those who will say that these are players simply, that these players are simply exercising their First Amendment rights. Everyone should say that because that's what it is.
Yeah, I wonder what some people should say that. What, people that know anything about the Constitution?
Well, I've got news for people who think that way. Cops have First Amendment rights too. Duh.
So then they could protest what these guys
And
did.
we plan to exercise ours.
Okay.
I remind the NFL and their players that this is not the violent that it's not the violent thugs burning buildings that buy their advertisers' products. It's cops and the good people of St. Louis, wrong, and others and other NFL towns that do. Somebody needs to throw a flag on this play. If it's not the NFL and the Rams, then it will be cops and their supporters.
Okay.
I took that as a threat. I took that as we're going to protest, boycott the NFL and their marketing partners because 5 people, less than 10%
Of the
just
organization.
the players,
Yeah.
not the organization,
Yeah, just
just
players.
the players decided to voice their opinions without, and it's not like they would trying to bring
Incite the
everyone in
crowd or anything. They just came
to
out
do the same thing.
And it wasn't during the play of the game. They actually, during their announcements, which, you, depending on, if it's a national game or whatever, you really don't even see that. Most of the time when they're doing the announcements, they have the commentators, saying whatever, announcing the game, talking amongst themselves about who they feel is going to win and who needs to do what in order to gain an advantage. And then by the time it clicks over to the main screen for what the regular viewer sees, you see the people lining up the football to do the kickoff. So unless it's a nationally televised game or the Super Bowl or something big like that, you don't even see this. You do not even see this. Obviously, NFL Films has it, but the regular general population don't see the run-ins. So,
okay, first of all, Royda, you scumbag. Yes, it is their First Amendment rights. Yes, they have a right to say do what the fuck they want. And for you to,
as long as they don't violate any league policy, which of course they didn't. They didn't do anything like that.
And by the way, the NFL quickly announced that they are not going to punish these guys because they did nothing wrong.
See, all these particular individuals, these police officers, they have their right to say that they didn't like what they saw. And if they want to peacefully protest or whatever, fine. But the issue, threats, and all this other kind of crap, like there'll be repercussions if these individuals aren't chastised in some way, is absurd. But it just shows this whole elitist, this entitled mentality that these people have. And I try to stay away from a lot of this Ferguson stuff because, having, lived in New York City the majority of my life, lived in the United States my entire life, this didn't surprise me at all. Not even one smidgen. Nope, not at all. I am positive that a police officer in as a guy used to say, in Macy's window, for you people that, that might not know, Macy's is one of the huge, gigantic stores that we have in Manhattan, 34th Street. Been around for years. They could probably bazooka shoot a black man in one of those windows and nothing will happen. With cameras and everything, nothing will happen because, there was something that someone had said about this particular, because I always go to the comments. And they were like, well, listen, the same thing about all of the evidence. Well, let's just deal, I didn't want to deal with the particulars because people will niggle and naggle you about also, oh, well, you just mispronounced that. Or you did. The point is, my point with this whole Ferguson thing is, when we first saw that video, and you just mentioned it a few moments ago, there was like another person's vantage point where you didn't actually see the shooting. You just saw some construction workers like, yo, what's going on? He had his hands up. He had his hands up. Now, let's just say all of that was just fabricated. Somehow those guys was talking about something else and they mixed it and matched it with this to do some editing. The end result is we know that Brown was not armed at all. That's what we do know. And according to the officer, Brown was giving him gave him a one punch, then another punch, and the third punch was going to, incapacitate him, and God knows what will happen after that. So he had to let off 12 rounds and kill this guy. What came to light was the officer then removed himself from the scene and I'm not a big CSI watcher, but I do know, evidence is evidence, and you're not supposed to tamper with it. And if you yourself was involved in a shooting, you are part of the evidence. What you have on, whatever, powder burns, all this other kind of shit. He's like, well, I'm out of here. He leaves, washes off the blood, evidence, washes off, takes the clothes, takes them off. Well, I'm pretty sure they could show from watching Dexter, if you're close up and you blast somebody, there's going to be, I guess, more spray on you. Whatever. Off with that stuff. Took the gun, checked it in. There was so many things that were against procedure that I'm like, okay, there's something fishy about that. But once again, let's just say it was totally justified. Okay, being black devil's advocate. When we get a chance to go over, because everyone seems to have a problem with how we view evidence and how we see situations, well, I would love to pick up something and read something about an unarmed white man killed by the police. Then we can go back and forth about, the little bit of details and stuff, because this is what I do know as a black man. We're ninjas. We must be trained as kung fu experts, because whether we have guns or not, when we approach you or sass off or anything, we're considered lethal. We must be killed. When we have our wallets, we must be killed. If we have a cell phone, that's a dangerous weapon. We must be killed. If we're in a supermarket or a chain store that sells toy guns, and we happen to buy one of the toy guns from the place, and it's clearly a toy, we must be killed. If we're handcuffed, cuffed, with our hands behind us, with another officer with his knee on our backs in a train station, we're so lethal because we know how to do the Houdini and get up out of all of that. We must be killed. Yet, I have seen with my own eyes, because we used to go to Mardi Gras all the time. I have seen drunk white boys carrying on, get arrested. We actually saw a guy made one of the police horses flip over. Like I don't know what he did, but he spooked the horse flipped over, the cop fell.
They whipped his ass.
They whipped his ass. Oh, he got it.
Didn't kill him.
He didn't die though. That other story about the guy drunk and inebriated with a legitimate rifle that was chambered, had bullets in it. Oh, drunk. Okay, Mr. Drunk, not so dangerous white person with a gun. We're going to talk to you for over 40 minutes because, hey, there's got to be a resolution. We don't need to take your life. Surely we can calm you down and talk you down.
Or one of my recent favorites, the police chase of what turned out to be a middle-aged white woman who jumped, sprung out of her car. I saw this because I saw the police dash cam. Sprung out of her car and whipped around like this, much faster than I just did it. And somehow the pigs were able to discern within the second they had to make a life and death decision that they weren't going to die, and they didn't have to make this woman die either.
Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why. I mean, so apparently there's so much footage out there where like we showed it on a few shows back where the guy was the passenger in a vehicle with children in the back. They break the window because he's just handing stuff out the window and they want him to come out the car. So they break the window, take him outside, tase him up, all these different things. Yet we don't. Where is the footage of this happening to white people? Because I know white people do crimes, and I know they drunk, and I know they resist arrest. Why aren't they getting shot dead?
I amazingly enough, will submit the one show. We did a show a while ago back at our old station where those pigs, those highway cops, tortured basically this white boy.
No, they tortured the hell out of him.
I guess as I said, in general, cops need to be blasted because they are out of control.
We've seen cops kick people on the show, kick people in wheelchairs, work them over in wheelchairs. All of this stuff. Cops need a day of reckoning. But
we get it worse.
They're not dead though. They have stories to tell. They have stories to tell. Indeed. Oh, the cops beat my ass raw. Mm-hmm. And I want to sue. Oh, he pushed me over. I want to sue. They live to tell about it. We don't. So until this country decides to stop all of this nonsense about this is not a racist society. Nothing is ever going to change. And I personally think, and then there's been a lot of subterfuge going on with this Ferguson thing, because I've been hearing reports and stuff. Like I said, I didn't follow it closely because I knew it was going to happen. I knew the riots was going to happen. But, people have been saying that some of the people that were burning down the black businesses weren't actually part of the protesters. So they were like, wait a minute, we don't know these guys over there torching the building of the store that we frequent. We don't want that place, but we don't know who these people are. So there's been reports about fake people, inciting this crap, about, some of the burning buildings, some of the stuff that's in the buildings, whatever they used as a accelerant wasn't just, vodka or whatever in the bottle, whatever. I've been hearing a whole bunch of stuff going on with that, and, who knows what it is. My point is, damn all of this nonsense. Forget burning down buildings. Forget all of this we shall overcome shit. Until white people are uncomfortable and white police officers are uncomfortable, this will never change. So black people need to just either suck it up and just deal with it and just, I guess, go outside in suits of armor, bulletproof armor at all times. I'm pretty sure they'll come up with just a new kind of bullet to go through that. Or do something significant to cause these people to pause.
And interestingly enough, and you just reminded me, I was like, literally, I was bored. I decided to watch The Purge 2.
Oh, okay.
And wasn't as horrible as I thought it was going to be. Still no big deal.
It's better than the first one. The first one was terrible. The first one was stupid.
I definitely like the way it ended. But anyway, be that as it may. There was a line there, your boy from The Wire, the dude with the scars on his face. He was one of the freedom fighters or whatever his name is. Yeah. You saw it?
Yeah, but I only saw it one time and I can't even remember what the fuck.
But I just like the line because it screamed what I've been screaming since I've been doing this show. And he said, basically, this shit won't stop until their blood is spilled. This is what I've been telling people.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because that was a scene when they ran up there and started shooting all the rich white folks. Yeah.
And I know I've been calling for the death of the cops, and Lord knows some of these cops have to be killed, but that's not going to do anything. See, what we have to do is go after the lawmakers. Because, see, these cops continually hide and are protected by procedure, by precedent, by training, and the law. Yet, somehow, all these black people getting killed with no weapon is not enough to urge these lawmakers to change the laws.
Or vet the people, vet the people, the candidates that want to be police officers. Well, do something.
Yeah, do something. But they won't do anything.
No.
So,
because it's like you said, it's not their blood being spilled.
Right. Find out who makes these laws, find out who's protecting these, and start blasting them. Because then, and scream out, this is for change the law. Pop, 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 pop.
If nothing else, it'll open up a dialogue. A dialogue that I'm pretty sure a lot of white people don't want to have. They don't want to face it. I go back to one of my favorite cases that truly showed how divided we are as a country, which was the O.J. Simpson trial. Now I flat out think that man went Michael Myers on them folks. Slashed him the fuck up. You smoking up and blowing up all my money. You're here snorting up all my money and fucking this dude up in here. It's not going down like that. So he went crazy and he slaughtered these fucking people. In my mind, I'm positive. He slaughtered these people. But he got off. And according to the letter of the law, he was tried, found innocent by a jury of his peers, and that was that. White America was like, nah.
That motherfucker hasn't done shit.
You will never be able to make another dime in this country. You will never be able to do anything. We will not rest until your every moment is misery. Even though the system that we instituted somehow found your black ass innocent, and we can't have that. Yet whenever anything like this happens, the evidence was this and evidence was that, and the cop is innocent, so we're supposed to just go on about our business. It's okay. The system worked. He's free. He didn't do anything. Oh, calm down and stop being thugs. Stop being thugs. Okay. Sure. But when two white folks that wasn't even the pillars of their community got chopped down by this fucking madman, all of a sudden, you can't handle that. Yeah, we gotta constantly, whether this particular individual was a thug, okay, fine. That kidnapped train station wasn't a thug. I've said it plenty times. You take the same articles of clothing and put it on a white person, it's urban chic. You put it on a black person, it's thug nigga wear. Same outfit, same attitude, same posture, same fit, everything. It's urban chic, thug wear. You understand that poor, what was his name? That 41 shots, what was his name? Amadou Diallo. Okay, so he has his wallet, he gets 41 bullets. That's an old story, but it speaks to the culture.
It's the same damn story.
It's the same story. It's the same story over and over again, and how all of a sudden those individuals, this was justified. There was so many. I mean,
Greg
there's
Bell.
so many cases of Greg. I mean, I go back to taking it way back to the Michael Stewart, the graffiti artist that got the chokehold and he was killed, and Eleanor, I think it was named Eleanor Bumpers. That was the old black lady in the Bronx that was going to get evicted. She didn't want them evicted her. So this old lady had a butter knife. They blasted her hand to pieces. Okay, so you figure, okay, you had a weapon. With her weight, maybe she had some quick black ninja moves because, we're black ninjas, and she could have butter knifed somebody. So they took care of that. They took her hand off with the shotgun. I still think they didn't need to do that, but whatever. These big cock-strong dudes can't beat up an old lady, but whatever. But then she, I guess, having her hand blown off or whatever, decided to go buck batshit crazy, and they shotgunned her in the chest. Got off. They tried to get the dude, got off. So when you have situations like this happening over and over and over again to people of color, brown people, minorities, whatever you want to call us, eventually something's going to have to break. Something's going to have to break. And I think the powers that be maybe wanted to break, man. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But the shit that all this protesting and fucking signs and placards, that's whack. That shit ain't going to do nothing.
And, well, we may as well just finish it out. This is probably just going to be the whole damn show. Because
I talk a lot. I'm sorry, but I mean, this is yeah.
And I guess speaking of protests,
Well, wait a second. But hold that thought. Just please don't. I just want to bring out something else. I was listening to one of the radio shows this morning, and about what the particular St. Louis Rams did, and people always. And we've said this, everyone said this. People, always, speak out and all this other kind of stuff because then, especially when it's sports, we don't want you to be like a Michael Jordan who had no basic take on anything. He just, stayed his course and that's it.
Corporate whore.
He just did what he did and whatever, right? But people always, they don't mind when you speak out when you're saying something that they want to hear, that represents their viewpoint. But when you speak out, and execute your rights as a person to speak out on topics and things like that, and it goes against what people want to hear, oh no, it's a problem. Damn these people, burn them in hell. It's this whole place. We really need to cut all the pretense and bullshit and just be honest with ourselves in plain language. We're racist, we're fucked up, this country needs help. And until we can get to that point, there's gonna be violence, man, and it needs to be. It's a sad thing.
Doubt.
It's a sad thing, but it needs to be.
But you know what we don't need? And I had to bear witness to this on Facebook. I didn't go to Twitter, but I get emails about what's on Twitter. This is on Twitter. And even here, where we shoot the show, I was working on someone else's show on Saturday, and this came up again. And, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Part of the reason why, and you can call this blaming the victim if you want, but we certainly don't help the situation, No. This is why we get our asses blown away. Because blacks, even the ones who mean well, you're fucking stupid. I've said it a million times.
Misguided.
Totally.
Stupid is harsh.
You totally don't know what battles to fight. You pick the wrong ones over and over again. This fucking movie, Exodus.
Yeah,
that
the Ridley
came out.
Scott film. That's
You
well,
know?
it's coming out, but it was
Oh,
reviewed. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Okay? It's the Moses movie all over again.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing like back in the days when Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra and Richard Burton played whatever the fuck, whoever,
Because
whatever his name is.
Christian Bale being Moses is a blight on black society today. Christian Bale being Moses is what is so detrimental. It's what's wrong. It's what's hurting black people. So much so that it's fucking Facebook topics. It's fucking crowd gathering fucking conversations here at the studio. It's the Twitter feed. Everyone's going ballistic. Because a movie made by rich white people for white people in a white land,
Coming out of a white studio,
asking
for white money to try to get white money back.
Exactly.
The fuck?
That's what's worth fucking getting all upset about.
And
Shit that has nothing to do. It's not gonna make or break you, put you in jail, kill you, raise or lower
impact
your
our
health
lives in any way,
shape, fashion, or form. But this is what you people are fucking concerned about.
And more importantly, if you want to do, what black people need to do is go to Oprah, go to what's his face, Medea Man, and all the rest of these people that pool their resources together and make your own Moses movie with all those actors. But the point is, that's such a stupid thing to even be arguing about. And Ridley Scott said something. He's like, listen, call it what you want, but if we're going to try and get $200+ million for a movie, because this is a business to the people, they're not filmmakers, they just move money around and they want to get that money moved back. Who are you going to get to open a movie, a $200+ million movie that's black? I keep going, I'm not going to mispronounce a lot of these guys' names, but the cat from 12 Years a Slave, the dude that did James Brown and Jackie Robinson. Obviously, there's always the old staples of Will Smith and Denzel Washington. But, these guys haven't had the, tremendous box office, record-breaking movie openings as of late. So are they going to, what the hell are they going to do? We haven't established ourselves. And I'm not saying that's fair or correct. Obviously we haven't had a lot of opportunities to do certain types of roles, so I understand that. But the fact remains is today, we don't have any particular black star that we can just push out there and open a $200 million budgeted film and hope to get it back. So they did what they did, and you know what? Who gives a rat's fucking ass?
That's my shit.
There's black blood in the fucking streets.
Current
Current blood, not the old fucking blood from back then.
Are fucking arguing about a movie made about a story in a probably a phony story in a phony ass book. Whether you believe it or not, I don't give a shit. You have no proof it's phony. And on top of all of that, you people are still gonna fucking love your Jesus. It's not going to destroy Christianity.
Exactly.
It's certainly not going to stop all the ministers and the preachers and the pastors collecting your fucking money. It's not going to stop Creflo Dollar. It's not going to do anything like that.
So
it's going to
that's
have
the part that
no
I don't understand.
Impact.
But
fucking cops wanting to boycott an NFL team because 5 players disagree with an outcome of a murder of your people. I'm waiting to hear it. Where is it? You better start tweeting about it. You better start Facebooking about it. You better be standing in the fucking hallways of your jobs talking about that shit. And let the white man hear you.
And as far as not just let the white man hear you, if you have such a problem with Exodus and you think that it's fake and you're a religious person, well then shouldn't God blast these motherfuckers down with lightning or something?
Yeah, I'll buy that for $1.
Put it in God's hands, look, that shit is it's not relevant to our struggles today whatsoever.
Pick your battles, Negroes. Pick your fucking battles, or you're gonna lose all of them. That's our show.
Yeah.
God damn it. We'll be back next week. Thank you for joining us. I am Ken. That's
Skillet Sauce.
See you guys next week.
Take care.
We're trying to make it, baby. We wanna make it, baby.